Yeah, this topic we have discussed yesterday, EIA steps. Okay, uh, project proponent has to identify the location. Then, if there is any problem with the location or the site, they should look for any alternative site. After that, the project proponent should assess the whether the proposed activity or the project is falling under the purview of environmental clearance. If it is mentioned, then EIA study should be conducted. If it is coming under category A, it will be under central government. If it falls under B category, the project will go to state government for the clearance. Then after the EIA report is ready, it will be we'll have to approach the state pollution control board and the state forest department if the particular location involves using of the forest land. Then if state pollution control board is satisfied with all the prescribed requirements, then they will issue the NOC. After that, a mandatory or compulsory public hearing will be conducted. After that, the project proponent, the person will be submitting an application for environmental clearance with the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Okay, if it is under project A category, otherwise with the state government. Then there will be a committee, environmental appraisal committee. They will be verifying, checking all the documents. If required, they will be even visiting the site. Okay, and after that, these committees are known as environmental appraisal committees. In case of certain special or controversial projects, they will even they will consider public hearings. They will arrange for public hearings, etc. Then after that, the recommendations will be processed and it will be either approved or rejected. And that is mentioned over here. The processing is done simultaneously, and if it either it can be accepted or rejected. Then these all the requirements, once all the requisite documents and data are collected, they will be getting this clearance for 5 years. NOC will be provided for 15 years, and the regional officers for verifying these all these activities, all these procedures and guidelines, they to set up in 6 different places: Shillong, Bhubaneswar, Chandigarh, Bangalore, Lucknow and Bhopal. Okay, so that topic is over. Here you can see that image. Yeah, today this topic we are going to discuss, that is environmental audit. What is the meaning of environmental audit? Okay, all of you might have heard about this term audit. Audit karna, auditing karna. What is actually auditing? Auditing is basically, it is a general term, or it is a management tool which helps to understand or which helps to conduct various types of evaluations to check whether everything is in proper order or not. Okay, that is audit. Okay, to check whether every activity of an organization is working according to the legal aspects or not. So what is this environmental audit? You can see over here. Environmental audit, it is again a management tool comprising of systematic, periodic and documentary evaluation of the performance of an organization's environmental aspects with an objective to check whether the organization is complying with all the necessary provisions and policies under the environmental regulatory framework. It started developing in the beginning of the 1970s in USA and Europe. During that time, many of the countries were adopting environmental legislation, that is different rules and regulations to reduce the harmful impact on the environment. So gradually they started adopting this environmental auditing practice, and they will give several recommendations on how a company has to improve their process and how they can use the several green technology or eco-friendly technology for the long-term benefit. So here once again I'll explain what is environmental audit. It is a management tool comprising of systematic, periodic and documentary evaluation. Auditing means checking or evaluating the performance of an organization. Environmental auditing means checking the environmental performance, or like how they are working with respect to environmental aspects, whether they are following the necessary regulations or not, or whether the effluents or the emissions are more than the standards or not, or what methods are they using for waste management or not. All these things we can understand with the help of by conducting an environmental audit. So it is a management tool. Okay. And but the thing is that most of these environmental audit, as such, there is no standard protocol. That is, typically the companies have their own protocols to meet their specific guidelines. They audit firms. They can take the help of external audit firms, and they also will develop general protocols. Protocols mean general guidelines which can be applied to different companies. So, like as of that, we can see different types of audits are conducted over here because of this. That is, different types of audit are there: compliance audit, issues audit, health and safety audit, site audits, corporate audit, due diligence audit, activity or operational audit, and product or life cycle audit. It's just one line. It can come for objective questions, that's all. You need not go into much explanation is not required over here. So let us see which are the different types of audit. First one is compliance audit. This is one of the most common type of audit. It checks regarding the environmental legislation and company policies. Okay, different policies, strategies, etc., plans, etc., which is developed by the company, and environmental legislation. Legislation means different rules, legal aspects of the company with respect to environment. That is compliance audit. Issues audit means an evaluation of how a company's activities relate to an environmental issue. That is, for example, global pollution, energy use, or with respect to evaluation of a specific issue, like for example, construction of a building, like that. In these aspects, in several such issues, how a company is behaving, or what are the company's activities with respect to such issues. Third one is health and safety audit, an assessment of risk and contingency planning. For example, there can be several hazards or dangers because of certain types of industry. So what are the precautions? What are the health and safety requirements adopted by the company? That will be assessed during health and safety audit. For example, whether the company is providing safety or protection equipments for the workers or not. There are different types of protection equipments like goggles, then gloves, gum boots, like that. So helmets, etc. So these things can be understood by conducting a health and safety audit. That is an assessment of risk and contingency planning, so that they are prepared for in case any danger or hazard happens. In site audit, site means location. It is the audit of a particular location to examine actual or potential environmental problems, whether any problem is there or not in that particular location. That can be understood with the help of uh, site audit. Okay. So what would be the potential environmental problems? For example, if that area is prone to earthquake, or if their area is having some other issue, some other what you can say, water problems over there. So these things we can understand with the help of site audit. Then there is corporate audit. It is a audit of the whole company, its policies, its structures, procedures, practices, etc. That is a complete audit. Then due diligence audit. It is an assessment of potential environment and financial risk and liabilities carried out before a company merger or a site acquisition. Due diligence means careful, becoming careful. That is before a company's activity is beginning, like before if a company is merging with some other company, or before finalizing the site. What is the audit conducted? That is known as due diligence audit. Then activity or operational audit, that is with respect to the day-to-day activities of the company. For example, energy management, waste management, different waste management practices, then different transportation practices, etc., which are adopted by the companies. That is activity or operational audit, day-to-day activities. Then product or life cycle audit. This is an assessment of environmental impacts of a product throughout the entire life cycle. That is, throughout all stages of its design, production, use, disposal, including its reuse and recycling. That is from the origin till the last stage. Origin till the last stage. What are the different activities involved? What are the different stages involved? And the assessment through all these different stages, that is known as product or life cycle stage. That is beginning from the design, how you will modify the product, how are you going to manufacture the product, what are the different types of materials used in that, then how are you going to dispose the product, whether the products would be reusable or not, how the product is being recycled or not. That is from the beginning, from the origin till the end point, the entire assessment, that is known as product or life cycle audit. Now, why this environmental audit etc. should be done? It is basically done in order to understand whether the organizations are following the guidelines which are set up before them. And various methodologies, as I told you, various methodologies are adopted. Each organization, many times they adopt or they will define their own system depending upon the size of the company, its different activities, its culture, etc. Okay, so that is about environmental audit.